On this computer. Lighting is perfect in Cincinnati.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you noticed.
Lighting is whack as shit
You
in
guys
Nagoya.
look really
Look at this
beautiful.
whack ass lighting in Nagoya.
It's because the sun's on the other side of the earth. Oh, don't do it!
That's even worse.
Turn it all up.
He's backlit to the extreme. My lighting right in between in cam. Not really
good.
great. Not
The lower
good.
half is really nicely lit. Upper half needs some work. But
Not really good.
Yeah.
Not really bad. But better than Adam's. So that's really all that matters. So nothing's really happened since our last podcast. We don't really have to catch up.
Our last podcast in February.
February. It's not like. So what have you guys been doing? Why haven't we been podcasting? You guys have you been busy trying to just exist?
Yeah.
We got a lot going on. We're doing our part and working remotely because we have that great benefit.
Mm-hmm.
As does Asif, I believe.
I do. I am working remotely. Here, right where I'm sitting.
I'm actually surprised your internet's good enough to do this right now.
Now, here, my download is 100 megs, and my upload is an unreliable 8.5 megs. But that's decent enough to do voice over internet and video chat. Now, if I tried to stream this, it would just explode. But this alone, I've found I've been able to do. I also, we're recording another podcast this way right now, the Shackcast. So we did that yesterday with Zoom as well. But yeah, it is a miracle, and I have to praise Ja that I am able to use the internet in Northeast Ohio. It's fascinating. The office, which is now shut down because we're non-essential, right? I don't know. We're on this weird border of essential and non-essential because you could argue that we're media.
You're essential. I'm telling you right now. I'll call DeWine if I need to.
Can you call DeWine for me?
Yeah. We're definitely essential.
And Acton?
Yeah.
Dr. Amy Acton.
If Amy Acton tells
vision of leadership.
If she told me that Shacknews was essential and I could go back to the office, I would. But she seems busy, so I have not bothered her about it.
I'm in the Amy Acton fan club, and someone called the Board of Health in Ohio, and she answered. She said, "Hello, this is Amy." We're like, "What?"
Oh my god!
Wow.
She's not playing around.
She's answering the phone.
She's not playing around. That's a real leadership.
Everyone's else is on lockdown. It's just her.
She's doing everything.
I know.
That's seriously
the orders. She's
no
doing the
BS.
press conferences, collecting
No
the
BS,
data,
Adam.
doing the research.
Yeah. This is the 9 to 5 Elon podcast. It's back. We didn't get canceled by COVID-19.
Never.
Yeah.
So,
Are you allowed to say that? I think the YouTube's going to get demonetized now.
Oh no! Dozens of dollars lost for Shacknews.
Don't say that.
COVID-19. Coronavirus.
Stop.
Fine. It's horrible. This thing. It's
Are you drinking
virus.
on the job, Tony?
Yeah, I'm drinking a Mad Tree. This is the only Cincinnati free destination charger. Is it Mad Tree Brewing?
Okay.
That's a good
all
sponsor.
local businesses during the lockdown.
So by supporting local businesses, you're not engaging in social distancing as well as you could.
Yeah.
Because you're going to places.
Talking about
You're doing
Eating and drinking, Tony.
pickup locations. We're in our own home.
Okay. You're just
They actually deliver. They had like an ice
They
cream
deliver?
truck
They had an
for a
ice cream
while.
truck, and they created such a huge volume of people that it got shut down.
Oh man.
People were following it around.
They were bringing pizzas, uncooked pizzas from their pizza shop that's in the brewery in an ice cream truck. And they
beer.
deliver off a 6-pack of beer and a
Oh,
pizza
man.
that you cook in your own oven. It was genius. But
Well, now they're doing it neighborhood by neighborhood. They're still doing it.
Can I tell you about a business in Northeast Ohio that is booming right now because of their business model
I'm
is
gonna
transcendent?
Swenson's?
Yeah, Swenson's. Their parking lot's packed. And they're doing a really good job of engaging in social distancing, and people are calling in orders.
yeah.
I haven't been going to these places, though. I'm not taking the risk. I think that we're in this time period right now where, like, you should just stay in your house and cook as much food as possible at home. And I know that there's businesses I love out there that might go under during this time period. Because, like...
So, I think since the 11th, we've picked up food 5 or 6 times now.
4.
4 times.
4 times.
Yeah.
I stopped eating out on the 11th.
Yeah.
After I finished putting together a pandemic plan for a local business, I was like, this seems real bad. And I had a couple conversations with Adam. And I was like, I feel like I just shouldn't eat out because people don't know what's happening and what's coming. It's going to be real bad.
I think the thing that made me really paranoid was that people who weren't symptomatic can easily pass the virus to you airborne or all sorts of ways. So that I'm like,
the fact that there's still no tests, right? It's awful.
That there's a lot of, we can just say this virus is basically a commercial for Medicare for all, and if that's the only good thing that comes from it, so be it. But
and universal basic income, both.
I mean, sure. It's basically the entire progressive agenda could be the solution to this problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we had to lead with that. This has been crazy. The school's basically going to be canceled, right, for the rest of the year.
Yep. It's till May 1st right now, but
it's over.
It'll probably get extended.
Yeah, like they're going to do it.
Yeah, it's going to it'll go to September.
So
there's already a few states.
Colleges are mostly closed.
Yeah, because they were able to do finals online, and
they're still doing distance learning, which Mila is too. Like 3rd grade, she's got Zoom class, and she just had 101 Dalmatian rehearsal as a Zoom meeting with 50 kids. I was like, how is this gonna work? And it went shockingly well.
Wait, is that like a musical or a play or something? Or
musical.
A musical being practiced on Zoom.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we have technology in this time to
Remember your telepresence robot, Asif, with the iPad double, as the face?
Yeah, the double robot.
We just need everyone to have one of those. And why not? We can just strap some UV lights to them. They can just go around disinfecting everything, and we can interact with each other.
That'd be cool.
So, but then everyone's going to have like multiple robots in their house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we need any more robots, actually. I don't
I'm kind of like, I have this camera, right, and a computer.
Robots. I don't even like our Amazon Fire TV stick.
And you don't even trust your robot car at times, right?
I mostly trust it.
I don't.
Adam was asking, like, have you tried autopilot? It's like, dude, we've been in the car like 3 times in 3 weeks.
And one of those times I took mine to make sure it worked.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking about the effect on their collection of miles. This is going to severely impact the data collection.
Gas is so cheap.
For autopilot, it'll probably delay FSD by a couple years.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, gas prices are
it's insane.
Plummeting. Deflation is here.
Yeah. And no one can go anywhere.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny that people think that that's going to slow down electric car sales. Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
We were really close to still going on our road trip.
I know. I kept telling Tony, don't do it.
We had a lot of people telling us not to do it, and I was like, I don't know, man. We're going to be stuck. I'd rather be stuck at the beach than stuck here with all these crazy people.
You got great lighting.
But then 2 days after we decided not to go, they closed the beaches and all the parks.
Yeah.
Near the house we were going to rent. So
down the coast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I've lived in a beach city before. They don't have a lot of supplies.
Yes.
No.
This area did actually have 4 grocery stores within like 6 miles, which was kind of good too.
Yeah, but we're not very many.
It was the right choice to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when, it was the day that we decided not to go. They closed rest stops, like most of the rest stops between.
I gotta say,
Carolina, so
me moving to Northeast Ohio and living my hermit life here seems kind of prescient now.
Paying off now.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of am happy I'm not living in a super dense city right now. Like, I was living in Orange County before I moved here.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to not be in Southern California right now. I'm worried for my friends who live in the bigger cities in this country. Because Ohio, especially Northeast Ohio, what I think we have going for us is that we used to have the infrastructure for many more people than we do have living here now.
Yeah.
So that when it comes to hospitals, especially,
Cleveland Clinic's like the biggest network and has like the most money of any hospital.
Yeah, Cleveland Clinic, University Hospital, like right next to each other, and then like in Canton, we have like there's a University Hospital like satellite, and then there's like Altman and Mercy and we have more capacity here than I think most places in the country, just because of two things.
It was within 24 hours of the first announcement. They already had a drive-up testing center at Cleveland Clinic.
Cleveland Clinic. Like once they were given the information they needed to develop a test, they took 24 hours to create a better test.
Yeah.
So if you had given them the information earlier, fucking Trump. You know what I mean? Like Donald Trump is. Can you think of a worse person?
It's the whole admin now. It's not just him. It's this whole team.
Well, he picked them.
Did you see the governor from Georgia today? Or I think it was yesterday. I believe yesterday. The governor of Georgia said they did not know that you could transmit it without symptoms.
Yeah,
like their job.
That was like a game changer.
It was a game changer.
I've known that since like February.
I've looked at the time.
Or maybe even January. It's been a long time.
At least in this country,
it's been public knowledge in this country since like I think January 31st.
Yeah.
And you're a governor. Your job is to protect your people. That seems like really important information to have ignored for over 2 months. And that's my concern, is that like because there's no national leadership and it's been states doing it, if not every state does it,
it's a huge problem.
It's just a massive problem.
Yeah.
So here we are with this patchwork,
and we're seeing like even in states with good leadership like Ohio, you still have churches and organizations that are still like, no, we're still going to have like mass public gatherings.
I will say that there's a church up the street from my house, and they're doing live stream sermons.
Yeah, most are.
Most are.
But there's some exceptions.
There's one near here that's still having full services, and everyone's up in arms and super mad about it. It's like near Dayton, kind of.
Are people actually going?
Yes.
It's the one that had the big, like, it was called the Big Butter Jesus that, like, got struck by lightning.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that church.
That church is...
Footlong Jesus, some call it.
Yeah, the new one is Footlong Jesus.
Touchdown Jesus was
Touchdown Jesus. Yeah, it's been called Touchdown Jesus.
It's that church, so.
Yeah, it was in Robin
Not
Big.
shocking to anyone, really. But
no one is stunned, but
it's frustrating. Because that impacts everyone in the community, not just the people that
Yeah, exactly. If like one county does something wrong, it affects everyone in the state. You know, if one state does something wrong, it affects everyone in the country.
I saw a good meme that was like, if only half the states do, or if only like 40 of the states do it and 10 don't, it's like having a peeing section in the pool.
Yeah, that's accurate. This
That's the best analogy that I've seen.
Only this 20% of the pool has urine in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't infect the rest of it.
Don't worry, it'll just stay there, just in that state.
Yeah.
So, everything.
DeWine is at his press conference yesterday. He said they're making people self-quarantine that are coming in from other states.
Correct.
He said, like obviously, if you're in Cincinnati and you work in Kentucky and you go back and forth every day, that's different. But like if you're coming home as like a snowbird from Phoenix or something, like making you quarantine. But I wonder how they're enforcing that.
They're not.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
The cops and the health officials are completely spread thin right now.
Yeah.
It's impossible to enforce that stuff.
I'm sure the cops don't want to deal with human interaction.
Exactly. They're on the front lines. They're very susceptible to being infected by the virus.
Yeah.
So they don't want to.
There was a huge number in New York that already have it.
In New York.
But I will say, like, I went grocery shopping, what was it, 2 days ago? And I had to I drove by a park on the way to the grocery store, and the parking lot at the park was full. And, like, it's just, I think, and, like, being at the grocery store myself, like, people aren't socially distancing properly. They're walking right by you. They're getting in line right, because people are panicked. They just want to get the hell out of the store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're not engaged in social distancing properly, at least at the Giant Eagle I went to.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've seen that Target is taking some measures in Canton to be a little bit better with them.
The best one Trader Joe's has been absolutely incredible. Well, have you seen or read what's going on at Trader Joe's?
We're in Canton. We don't have those fancy grocery stores.
Well, we have to drive north to get there, but it's like they only let 10 people in the store. You have to wait in a queue with like 10 people. They're 10 feet between each person.
They're not doing
an employee outside wipes down your cart for you before he hands it to you, and then you go in. And then there's 2 employees in every aisle, and as you move through the section, they wipe down the section as you're done before the next person enters the section.
Like they're going to be doing that everywhere soon.
It's
clearly the model that's going to work to reduce.
And that was the only store I've seen people wearing masks.
I saw everyone at Giant Eagle had masks.
Oh, that's good.
No one at Kroger's had masks.
They had masks, they had gloves.
I'm a crazy person when I have a mask on.
That's important PSA. That's why I'm wearing this mask.
Yeah. Okay? Masks are good.
Masks work. Mm-hmm. I don't know why there's all this misinformation. I don't know if it's ridiculous if it's
I think originally they were concerned there wouldn't be any masks for people that work at hospitals.
Yeah, originally it was to conserve.
But you don't share information that's like, hey, don't make your own masks because they don't work. That's the wrong message.
But our doctors need them.
Yeah,
definitely. But they don't work.
Yeah, our doctors really need this protective gear, but by the way, it doesn't work.
It only work at hospitals.
It doesn't make
it only works at hospitals.
There's like a magic switch that happens in the edge.
Not at the grocery store, sorry. This doesn't keep droplets from touching your mouth or exiting your mouth.
I've had so many asinine conversations with people that are just like spewing garbage about how it's like ineffective and makes the problem worse.
Well, didn't Trump get on TV yesterday and say he's not going to wear one?
That's correct. He said that he was not going to wear one. He also said that scarves were as effective.
I mean, very early on, people were saying, please don't wear the mask because you're going to scare other people. It's like, if there's a time to be scared.
Yeah, that's right now.
Like right now.
That's the last thing on your list should be, I don't want to scare anyone by wearing a mask. It's like, it's going to become more normal. If you just look at the data, look at the 3 countries where the curve is the flattest. Uh-huh. It's the only 3 countries where it's socially acceptable and normal to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Right? It's Singapore,
South Korea,
and Japan.
Yeah.
It's totally normal to wear a mask. Nobody's scared if they see you wearing a mask.
It's not like a weird stigma.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to need to get normal here.
Well, it's funny
if we want to get back to normal.
Up until 2 days ago, whenever I'd wear one, I'd get like weird stares. Mm-hmm. And now when I wear them, people are like, "Oh, can you make me one?"
Yeah, where'd you
now
get
that they're supposed to wear one because like the CDC told them to.
This is how I know that this is going to get worse, because the cognitive dissonance is still very high with people, where they don't really believe what's happening, or they don't think that they need to take it as seriously as they do.
Well, convincing old people is really hard already.
Yeah.
That in combination with there's just a huge misinformation campaign. You know, who knows who it is, but there's so much data getting retweeted that is just straight up wrong. You've even got Twitter that has been like shadow banning people that are sharing correct information just because the information they're sharing doesn't make sense with what the CDC's put out. It's like the CDC, I understand they're trying to keep masks for the healthcare workers, but they were using misinformation to keep the masks.
Yeah, they changed their tune on Monday.
Stock. Like
all of their
transparency is
headlines
the key.
changed.
Like just share what the truth is. Why would you share not the truth if you're going to try to save people's lives? So I don't know.
Yeah, one of the first doctors that came to me and said, "Hey, my team needs masks. Can you make us some?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he was like, we literally just ordered a pack of bandanas on Amazon, and that's what we're using because like they aren't giving us anything. So I was like, yeah.
Like Cincinnati's in pretty good shape, but if you even have hospitals that have had time to prepare and they don't have enough equipment, like places like New York and LA, how bad it is, how bad it's going to get, how bad it is now. It's super scary.
But even units that aren't like COVID units, they're having to relinquish their supplies to give to the COVID units. So now they're also unprotected from other things. So like it's just a top-down problem.
Yeah, it's a shortage and it's bad. Right. Anybody in healthcare, anybody that is caring for other people, anybody that's bringing food or supplies, like required things to people that need it, like all those people are heroes. All heroes need masks. Like, mask making is an important thing. Are
Giant Eagle workers near you wearing masks? Because none of them are wearing them here.
Yes. The one in
some have said they're not allowed, but then
I will say that it changed. It changed from last or two, I don't know, it must have been 10 days ago to 2 days ago. Okay. 10 days ago, no. 2 days ago, yes. Mm-hmm. So I honestly think that there's probably people testing positive on the front line, and they're just not talking about it. And that's probably led to some of these procedures. Not talking about
it, they can't even get tested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Canton seems to have test availability. I
think they have more up north.
Yeah, if you fall into all of these specific things, like you have to have a temperature, you have to be exhibiting all the symptoms, and then you qualify.
And a lot of them, like you've had to have traveled.
That'll never get us ahead.
You have to have visited China.
Yeah, a lot of them
last week and a half.
And if you had to travel from somewhere,
have you been
and that's the thing. Like the procedures have changed. Like 2 weeks ago, all of that's true.
Yeah.
Whereas I do think that testing, it's not good, and we're behind where we should be, but it's better than it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Hopefully 2 weeks from now, testing's better than it is now. But I really am concerned about that 2 week gap where the virus is dormant or asymptomatic, and you can still spread. Because like that window happened to hit right during spring break in Florida and the beach cities that you're talking about. You saw it in Southern California too. People were at the beach. And I'm like, that's like Florida to me is going to be, if they're not the next hotspot, I will be shocked. But yeah, so it is weird because you're at this point right now where some hospitals are not out of supplies, but a week from now they will be.
Yeah.
That's where we're in a really weird place right now.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. I gotta say, I don't like this COVID-19 virus.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me. Like, we have a lot of doctor friends because, like, the school Mila goes to, a lot of her friends' parents are in the medical field. A lot of them are at Children's Hospital. But, like, just the panic in their voice when they talk about this. Like, they're like, yeah, we signed up to be, like, on the front lines and do this job, but we never thought we'd have to do it without supplies. Like, without what we need to do our job properly. Like, it's crazy. And they're like, we're not there yet, but, like, we'll get there. Like, they see the light. They see it.
Yeah, it's weird because of analytics and the ability to project, they can project that they're going to run out of all these things.
Yeah. And just
it's really crazy because when the medical staff get ill and they can't work,
right?
Yeah,
it just causes the system to break down much more quickly.
Yep.
And you'll have doctors getting sick that need to be treated, or nurses, or whatever.
They're setting up like triple teams so that like if one team gets exposed, they can quickly send another team in and like swap out. So they're all getting like 3 days on, 3 days off, like back and forth.
Yeah, it's exposure to the patients, but also exposure to each other. Like they're having to take all these unprecedented steps to protect their own teams.
Yeah.
And they're trying to do it without the proper equipment. So.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, what do you think, Elon? March 6th, the coronavirus panic is dumb.
Elon missing the mark. That was a super cringe one because that was like that date was basically after I had discussions with Adam and I was like, yeah, we're canceling vacation, we're gonna stop eating out.
Yeah.
Like Adam was way ahead of the game. We should talk. Adam canceled a birthday party, travel plans, his whole life. He was like way early. He's like, dude, I'm in Japan. We've got China.
I canceled it on like.
He knew what was going on way before anybody else.
I canceled it like January 14th. We were gonna go to Tokyo Disney Sea.
Granted, he lives closer to Wuhan than we do.
Yeah.
No, but he knew it was coming before anybody.
That's true.
I'm glad I listened to him.
Yeah, like our Telegram chat was just me and Adam telling you not to go to the beach.
Yeah.
Don't go.
Originally we were supposed to go to Disney and then switched it to driving to North Carolina.
I was just worried about like you talk about it's like we're just gonna drive there and then stay in a place. I'm like, yeah, but you're gonna stop at places along the way. Like there's just so many ways for you to get sick along the way.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And
ways to minimize that because people still travel now. People still have to do jobs now. They can do it safely. Just give them the proper information. Don't tell people don't wear masks because it's scary. Don't wear masks because they don't work. Don't wear a cloth mask because it's going to increase the viral load and all this other nonsense. It's like sanitize the masks, wear them. They reduce you being able to spit droplets out into the world. And if everybody wore them, it would reduce it for everyone.
So 4 days after
your mask. That's the truth. All right, FUD busting.
4 days after Elon said that the coronavirus panic was dumb, he said Coachella should postpone itself until it stops sucking. I gotta say, that was a pretty solid tweet, and he won my good graces from that tweet. It was he really. It's been an interesting few weeks for him. Because it wasn't until...
Took him a few days.
Well, arguably he said panic.
I understand.
So I
don't want to hear it. Really... Apologist. There's an Elon apologist.
Wait.
I do think Twitter doesn't allow you to say exactly what you mean. So I don't know what his intent was with the tweet.
He was probably, because the stock market was down.
He was probably thinking,
on March 6th.
I just got all this on track. I've got funding raised. We're about to just start firing on all cylinders. That's not a very good.
And that was before the whole,
not a very good
toilet paper run.
It was,
all that. So
he wasn't talking about that. S&P 500 was at 2,900 when he tweeted that. The next Monday, it was down 200 points.
Yeah,
that was one of those limit down days. So I think he was talking about the panic that they were selling every stock together indiscriminately. But I think that it was taken out of context, obviously. I'm not apologizing for it. I
should explain what he meant.
I think I made fun of it sufficiently.
It was a tweet. I feel like we should say way worse stuff on the podcast today, just to.
Mm-hmm.
No one cares about what we say.
Oh no, there'll be dozens of people that'll be like, I can't believe what Tony said. So then let's see. March 21st. This is when his tune seems to have changed. Also a pretty dank meme underneath it. Just had a long engineering discussion with Medtronic about state-of-the-art ventilators. Very impressive team. And then this is a pretty solid meme. I don't know if you've seen it. You can save the entire human race by spending the whole day doing absolutely nothing. This opportunity won't come again.
True. That is true for a lot of people. Not for parents who are now also teaching their kids.
No, I know. I'm talking to... It's not you folks that are being irresponsible.
I know. I liked the meme.
It's a good meme. And I would rate it a 10 out of 10.
That's the first 10 out of 10 on Shacknews.
The first 10 out of 10 is that meme.
Of all things, that meme gets a first 10 out of 10?
I don't know.
Worrying.
But yeah, so...
Standards are slipping.
Huh?
Standards are really slipping if that's getting a 10 out of 10 right now from Shaq.
I've seen some
from me
lately. I don't know that one.
Okay. Sarah is questioning it. Now we have debate. Now we do not have. We don't have
a repository of pandemic memes. So.
Fear the meme sphere. Elon tweeted
That's
out.
Another PSA. That's another FUD busting PSA. You gotta check your meme source.
Oh,
There's a lot of memes that are out there actually also sharing misinformation.
Fake news.
There's just so many
fake
fake
news memes.
That's like, why, oh, that's hilarious, but the underlying piece of information is not true.
That's true.
You got to fact check your memes.
So on March 16th, he was tweeting about chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine.
I hated this one too.
Yeah, so there was
like, cool, you read one study. The study had 30 people. Mm-hmm. Don't share that information like it's...
I won't even put it on screen. But he did. So, like, as you can see, like, between... Yes. So 10 days after he thought the panic was dumb, he's looking at drugs to treat it.
Yeah.
Well...
I mean, Trump did the same thing. He's like,
I think,
medicine.
Well, we all do it.
I think what he was I don't know, because I'm not him. But I think what he saw was in China, they did stop it from spreading across the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
Effectively, I think. Unless they're totally misreporting the numbers outside of the epicenter. So he was probably thinking, well, that only lasted, 2 months? In China? What was it, 2 or 3 months?
It's still happening. Why are we acting like it's not happening in China?
No, I know. But at the time, he didn't know that.
Yes.
So I want to say...
So he probably thought, all right, we'll get through this. This is going to be 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, but 4 days after
Maybe that's what he was thinking.
4 days... But let's continue on this timeline. 4 days after he talks to Medtronic, right? Apple, please fix autocorrect. It's ducked. This meme proves it. I mean, he's kind of back on his game with that one.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So I think it was a bad couple of tweets there between the 6th and the 16th.
He knew he had to make up for those bad tweets.
So that was pretty solid.
He had to make up for people overdosing.
He's back in our good graces.
Taking fish medicine. Killing themselves in Phoenix.
This was also really good, I have to say. This was March 30th. He posts this, and I have to say, this is when I knew he was back in business. Logarithm graphs coming soon. Time spent looking at exponential graphs. It's really good. So you see, as you can see, in 24 days, Elon Musk had won himself back in my good graces with dank memes. Okay. And you know what? He actually shipped some ventilators, didn't he?
And masks.
And
other PPE.
Apple also.
Yeah, it's the logistics more than anything that's been impressive, right? I mean, they've been trying to get their arms around getting Model 3s to where they need to be to maximize delivery times. Mm-hmm. And it's like you have to take all that knowledge and apply it to ventilators and to masks and to working with other companies, the stuff they've done with all the battery groups they're part of now or that are part of them.
So next day he says, we have extra FDA approved ventilators will ship to hospitals worldwide within Tesla delivery regions. Device and shipping costs are free. Only requirement is that the vents are needed immediately for patients, not stored in a warehouse. So please me or Tesla no. That's an unfortunate typo that he left.
Please me. That sounds like Trump.
It does. It does sound like Trump.
If you want ventilators, you better.
So a bunch of other cities have reported. I believe Detroit, New York, and New Jersey have received ventilators from Tesla. And I think
a number of places, right?
Yeah. So,
and they're all very appreciative.
He may have made a stupid tweet there. It may have been insensitive and horribly timed. But at least he's like trying to help.
Yeah, he's probably
with even more support. So it's fine. It's good. Yeah. It's good. And you can call it if you look at it as just a total marketing ploy, like, oh, he made a flub and now he needs to make up for it by doing XYZ. I mean, if Volkswagen, that'd be the first thing I thought was like, oh, yeah, obviously you have to do that. Obviously, since you poisoned everyone, you need to become a part of Electrify America and pretend that you're putting valuable superchargers all over the United States.
No, they did that because of the lawsuit with the U.S. government.
Right,
they were required to do it.
It's all public relations, right? You could very easily say, oh, Elon said something dumb, and now he's got to make up for it by doing whatever.
Speaking of terrible PR, Zoom. Elon Musk's SpaceX bans Zoom over privacy concerns. Tony, I had mentioned privacy concerns to you when we started using this platform.
What did I tell you?
You're like, yeah, it's kind of a mess. But like you use a computer that you're not really worried about the other applications running on it, right?
Well, so there's the 0-day stuff that's bad. There's UNC paths that were clickable links on Windows systems. There's Mac root access where you can get a hold of the camera and the microphone.
Holy crap.
There's a lot of bad stuff going on with the code. There are mistakes in Zoom's code.
And
so when you talk about teleconferencing, you got to say, like, all right, who's been in the game the longest? Who fixes bugs the fastest? It's not Zoom.
It's Microsoft.
Just because suddenly millions of people are using Zoom for everything. Yeah, you've got Skype.
They went from like
Hangouts
10 million users to
Cisco
200
WebEx is
million.
really the best.
Yeah, Cisco WebEx seems to be like the
They've
enterprise.
been around the longest. Yeah, they patch things the quickest. They have a huge team that's supporting that tool. That's just the nature of it.
It costs more though. Zoom is offering free services.
Yeah.
So it's like
anytime anybody offers a free service, you are the product. So you're losing all your metadata. It's all being sold to someone else. I really like the conspiracy theory that Zoom, because the audio and video are not encrypted and they're storing a lot of it on site, they're basically just going to create this like AI hive mind that can teach you anything that people have been using Zoom to teach one another. Like all the information sharing that's happening on Zoom right now, they're collecting it all. And they're just going to feed it into a artificial intelligence that then they will then sell you a subscription to learn something. Like, right? Because you have all these smart people that are talking on Zoom, sharing all this information. It's like, well, if we can just store all that and then resell it to the people as like training, as all the things you could do with potentially the knowledge that's now being spoken into Zoom right now.
I just want to look at a chart of Zoom since we started podcasting with Zoom.
This is the real Zoom, not the other stock Zoom that everyone confuses.
Yeah, this is Zoom Video Communications. The symbol is ZM. So I want to say, when was our first podcast? Around August or September? Stock was around $68, $65.
Yeah, I think August.
It's up 100. It's at 128. We have doubled Zoom stock single-handedly.
Yeah, we have.
Our podcast. It hit an all-time high of 164.94.
Wow.
When
was that?
That was March 23rd.
Mila's birthday. That was when we had her birthday party on Zoom.
How about that?
Yeah.
I think when you see a stock go from $60 to $160 in 3 months, first of all, it kind of reminds me that the face-ripping short-selling squeeze we had in Tesla, but it might be getting out of hand. And I think Zoom did get out of hand. Like it's because, like Tony, you mentioned, they're not the only game in town. They're not the best.
However, we're in Canton and Cincinnati and Japan. We've never dropped a connection. We've always been able to record our entire podcast. Like it's a pretty solid product, other than the huge privacy concerns and 0-day vulnerabilities. Other than that, it's fantastic.
So it's like, seems like that's got some risk. So
yeah, everything's got risk, right? Everybody's doing their risk calculations.
$38 billion market cap seems a bit much.
I don't know about that.
That seems high. Microsoft bought Skype for like $8 billion. That's proving cheap.
Yeah.
By comparison.
That was a good deal.
Now, maybe Microsoft's dumb enough to buy Zoom, too. Or Cisco is. Either way.
Just to get rid of them.
Either way, there have been, like... Zoom is an example of the panic going on in the stock market right now. And Tesla was definitely hit as well. I don't know if you saw. It was below 400. Did you see
today?
That? No. March. You have to remember, we haven't done a podcast since February.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
March 18th, the stock hit.
I almost bought it under 4, but then I didn't.
350. Well, don't worry. In this horrible bear market, you'll probably get another chance.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
We should talk about deliveries. Speaking of Tesla stock.
Yeah, we should actually talk about today's
move. About Q1 deliveries on the books.
And how they faded the hell out of that move.
Let's
see.
88,000. I was very impressed by that number.
It's awesome.
40% annual growth.
During a recession, you had the closure of the China factory.
The closure of Fremont.
Yeah, and the closure of Fremont. And the closure of Buffalo.
Yeah, it's all...
Yeah, the stock
factory
was up about $75 on the news. And
you also had, Adam, did you read those reports of people that were getting Y deliveries?
Mm-hmm.
And they were getting like callbacks after they got their Ys, and we're like, would you want to have another Y? Or do you know someone that would want one?
Oh, because they're trying to unload them real fast?
Yeah, so people were speculating like, oh, the quarter's going to be terrible. They're trying to give away more Ys.
Yeah.
I feel like that whole thing was just a troll.
Mm-hmm.
Was that in California? I'm sure they would be eager to dump them like nearby.
The two people I read about were both in California, yeah.
Seems like people are happy with their Ys. There haven't been a lot of deliveries.
It seems awesome, but yeah, I don't think there's been very many deliveries of the Y. Because there hasn't been a lot of video content, and a lot of the video content's all sharing the same car, it looks like.
I disagree with that. I think in the last 48 hours, I've seen like a dozen different Model Y walkthroughs. And
okay.
Brian at I1 Tesla, actually out of North Carolina, is doing some of the best content. He is crazy.
Yeah, I watched his. Yeah.
He's doing off-road stuff, details about the interior of the car, exterior of the car, the wheels.
He slept in it.
He's doing awesome stuff. Although he's doing awesome stuff without a mask on, with other people that are not his family members. And I've told him in his YouTube comments he's got to stop doing that. But got the feeling he plays by the beat of a different drummer.
Is he in Georgia?
No, he's in North Carolina.
In Carolina.
Yeah, might as well be.
Yeah, the Model Y seems really awesome, actually. Like,
shocking.
Wait, my mask's upside down.
You took the Model 3 and you made the car that the form factor everyone wanted it in.
Yeah, and made improvements, right? Like,
it's like the best.
Like, I'm really interested to see the winter range. It should be really good.
Looks cool. It's got the special heat pump.
Yeah.
It's got all the wiring harness improvements.
It does.
Battery improvements.
They did something. Well, you should watch the Sandy Monroe videos he's been putting out.
Awesome.
He's been pointing out a bunch of interesting things. He hasn't torn down the car completely yet, but he's
really leaking. He's giving little tastes of the content. He's doing a good job.
Yeah, he's found a lot of. Yeah, he is. He's been doing a lot of pointing out interesting features of the car that he's very impressed with. So that's cool. I don't think it has the really cool wiring harness that Elon had talked about in the past, though. I wonder if he'll ever explain why. I have a feeling they just wanted to use more parts from Model 3. I'm sure the wiring harness is different, but they had talked about switching the Model Y to a 48-volt system from 12. And they probably decided against that so they could reuse more parts.
I don't know if you've heard, Tesla's crushing the auto industry.
I've heard it.
according to Gene Munster and Loop Ventures, who've been bullish on Tesla for a while, but they've also been right for a while. They did not update their sales goal, which is surprising. I imagine they'll do that after.
Well, they don't know when the factories are going to open.
Yeah, I think what's most likely to happen, because a lot of companies have done this, they're going to suspend guidance entirely.
My worry is that the factory is going to be closed for Fremont will be closed all of Q2.
But going back to this Tesla crushing the auto industry, I think I have some pictures that might help explain this. This is Ford. It was a $10 stock in July. It's now here at $4.24. Hit a low of $3.96 in this recent sell-off. And I'm not saying it's going back to $2, but it might go back to $2. I don't.
Yeah, wouldn't shock me. I mean, looking at the chart, that looks like where it's gonna go.
Yeah, it doesn't look that great. So it's having a really bad quarter. GM's having a really bad quarter. Honda's having a really bad quarter.
Man.
And then you pull up Tesla, and you're like, huh.
That's rough.
Tesla's quarter, not so bad actually. If you look at it, I can pull up each bar is a quarter, right? And ignore this one because this quarter just started. Tesla's green versus GM's quarter. Tesla, Ford. You see these? You see this bar? Pay attention to this bar.
You had to put
Tesla, S&P 500. So if you just own Tesla, Tesla outperformed the market. It was up last quarter, and the market was down.
You had to put on two masks because these numbers are so toxic that you're sharing.
I'm sorry. The S&P 500 has crashed materially. It was an outside quarter. It's at a new high. It went back into that range and then blew out the other side. We were having circuit breakers being hit on a every other day basis in the futures.
Yeah, it was bad.
I think volatility may have
very
peaked.
bad.
Yeah, hey, you remember when I talked about volatility on a podcast?
Recession started, right? It's official.
Oh yeah.
Two bad whatever's in a row is.
I think it was on this pod. This was the week before, or the week our podcast went live. I was like, hey folks, VIX volatility index seems awfully low because it was at 13, 18.
Yeah.
It hit a high of 85.47. It's currently trading at 46.8. But
that's scary. That's as scary as the unemployment graph.
Yes. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics reports and the jobless claims numbers.
That's as terrifying as the 2008 to right now comparison.
But anyway, Tesla outperformed a lot of different asset classes in the quarter, so people should be happy if they're investing in Tesla still. And the most recent data we got was still pretty bullish. And I think it's one of these scenarios where there's no doubt that the virus pandemic is going to hurt sales in this quarter and deliveries. But it's not going to hurt demand for their product like it would demand for Ford's, demand for GM's. Because I think that electric vehicle buyers are still not early adopters now, but you're still adopting a new technology.
Yeah.
It's like I should say they're aspirational brands still. So I don't think that that's going to change. I think that there's still a market for them.
Yeah.
And they don't have to sell that many cars relative to GM or Ford.
That's true.
They really don't.
I do think it seems like we're bailing out everybody. You know what caused the volatility index to peak and to start reversing was that the Federal Reserve announced that they're going to print infinite money for everything.
Yeah.
So,
which is a way to fix things. I don't know if it's the best one.
It's not.
Hi, I'm Ray, and this is my friend Alex.
Hi.
And we do a show called No More Whoppers.
Some call it corn, we call it therapy.
We're adults with the virility of men.
Want to hear us read snack food copy and talk about Japanese chips? Too bad!
Join us every month or so on the Greenlit Podcast Network. I'm Jeremy Parrish, and if there's one thing my detractors can agree on, it's that I'm incredibly pretentious. That's why I've launched Alexander's Ragtime Band, a podcast about the most pretentious music on earth, progressive rock. Join me, James Eldred, and Elliot Long here on the Greenlit Podcast Network for a deep dive into the most pompous rock music ever made, from ABWH to Zepp.
At all.
But at this point, at this point in their product cycles, if you look at Ford and GM, like they're making a product that is purposefully bad, that breaks, so you have to pay to get it fixed. And they sell it at a loss because they know they're going to make it up later.
Service.
Tesla's selling a superior product, and even with gas at $1, even charging your car off fossil fuels, it's less money to run a Tesla than it is any of those other car brands.
Yeah, it's like 30%, even at $1 a gallon.
So their model is broken. So how are you just going to bail them out again? Like, they should have to...
And bailing it out probably won't even work.
They should have the most strict Green New Deal requirement put on.
Yeah, that'll happen under Trump.
You know what I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, if you're going to try to fix something...
They should have called it the Trump New Deal.
Well,
then he would have been like...
They're going to call it the Black Gold New Deal.
We already brought up healthcare for all.
We've got the biggest deal around.
If they called it Trump Care... Wait, if we call it Trump Care, do you think we can pass Medicare for all?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I think so.
With Trump Care...
Yes.
Trump Care for all?
Let's call it Trump Care then.
Trump Care for all.
I'm going to keep calling him leader.
He'll be on board anything with his name in it.
Trump Care.
Just a one-page sheet. Trump Care.
Supreme Leader.
Dear Leaders, Trump Care.
Dear Trump Leaders, cares.
Glorious
Trump Care.
Glorious Trump Care.
Dear Leader.
Dear Leaders, glorious Trump Care of United States of America. That's what we're calling it. That's now the name of this episode.
Though, right? Like, think if GM or Ford go bankrupt, that's so many people without jobs. That's awful.
Well, they probably are. They probably are.
Why? Okay, I'm glad you bring this up because it's this too big to fail, right? It's the too big to fail systemic risk argument.
Yes.
That we always hear.
Yes.
And in these cases, the federal government has infinite money. But when Bernie Sanders was trying to pitch Medicare for all, how are you going to pay for it, Bernie? We got $2 trillion for companies printed out of thin air. I don't get it. Like, how are we going to have this argument in the future? And, like, same thing when it comes to green infrastructure or high-speed internet in this country. Like, different infrastructure projects. Because I agree, like, the most obvious thing to do coming out of this is a massive public works project that's built on new technologies, right? But you know who would have
never gonna happen.
Totally. And if you look
it's also like the cost of
corporations. Yeah, look at the corporations right now that are actually doing good stuff, right? There's a couple. Like, Tesla makes cars, they're trying to make ventilators. Even Ford and GM are like, all right, let's get together, let's put together some ventilators. So you're seeing like the best side. Okay, what if you're confronted with death? Corporations are like, oh, if there's no people to buy the thing, we could do a much better job, right?
New Balance donated 10,000 pairs of shoes to like their local hospitals. Like, people are just going, like, picking them up.
Yeah, that's great. But you're also seeing the worst from corporations at the same time, right? You're seeing like, oh man, innovation. We're going to solve these problems. Then you've got drug companies that are like, oh, they are going to have to buy this drug. Let's quadruple the price of it. Like, what? During a pandemic, you're going to quadruple the price of a drug? You're going to limit supply of stuff just to make more profits for your shareholders? Like, that's insane.
The thing is
totally insane.
We live in a capitalist society. That's the point.
Yeah, it's working properly.
I mean, that's what is supposed to happen. Yeah. So instead of people saying, no, the system is wrong, we should change it, they just, like, their mind starts to function when there's an emergency, and they're like, this is a bad idea. And then they forget as soon as it's over.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Yeah. Should you bail out a company or an industry that spent 96% of their free cash on stock buybacks last year? Or should we just be capitalists for a second and let them fail? Yeah. Let them all fail. Because here's what we did with the savings and loan crisis that we haven't done since. We created good banks out of newly capitalized entities, and we let them acquire the assets of the bankrupted companies and create new entities that were healthy instead of just injecting capital. Who gives a crap about United Airlines? They're the worst. They're awful. They killed a dog like 2 years ago. You remember? They put a dog in the overhead and they killed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's that airline. Like, why do we care if they go to zero? Let them all go to zero. Those assets will exist in a bankruptcy court, and then a new company can be built out of it. If we're such capitalists in this country, and we think Bernie Sanders' socialism is so off-putting, let these companies fail. That's all I'm saying. Like, it does not make sense to me that we're going to sit here and, like, just last year, they spent billions of dollars buying back their own stock. Let them fail. Who gives a damn if they... Like, I don't care about any shareholders of any of these companies. Let those shares go to zero. Like, why is it like we have to have such religion about bailing out everything now? Just because that one time we bailed out the financial services industry because we didn't want $4 trillion worth of mortgages to be foreclosed on. No. That's why we did that. Our lives are going to be fine if XYZ company is born out of the bankruptcy of United and Delta. Yeah. Like, our lives will be fine. It's not like no one's going to try to be an airline after this.
Yeah.
It's that these guys, like, I didn't take bailout money at Shacknews. Shacknews is just going to keep running. Like, these companies manage their free cash so poorly that this is where they are. Let them fail.
You're not going to take out a shitty small business loan to keep Shacknews afloat? I can't even say it with a straight face.
I'm not.
Well, buybacks shouldn't even be allowed.
Well, after a bailout, for sure. But before a bailout, it was allowed. I'm not arguing about the ability for a company to do a buyback. I think it's better than a dividend, personally, because it prevents the double taxation of earnings. But if you're going to buy back shares so aggressively last year, and now you're stuck without cash for a month, and you're like, here, give me money, government? No, that's not how this works.
Yeah, well, they knew that would happen. Right?
Like, I don't think they planned this, is my point. And, like, I don't think we should reward companies that suck at preparing for this. Like, Apple's not hat in hand asking for a bailout. Microsoft's not. You know, Amazon's just fine. Like, why are we like, oh my God, the airline industry? Yes, Tony, there are a ton of people who are employed at the airline industry. And with the current bailout they've given them, you have given United, Delta, all those airlines until September. And then they're going to fire everyone. That's all that's happened. And then what, we're going to do another bailout? Like, no, there's plenty of money on the sidelines.
We'll do another bailout when there's a second wave of coronavirus.
Like, let them all bail, and then let Warren Buffett create like a new airline out of just the capital he has. Buy up all the bankrupted assets. This is what the savings and loan crisis, this is the last time we actually were capitalists.
Yeah.
was when we let that happen. And companies went under, small banks went under, bigger banks were formed from that. So, like, airlines, really? Was Denny's going to get a bailout? Are we going to bail out Denny's?
No, we're not bailing out any restaurants. They can take out a high interest rate loan if they'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 4 days into the first isolation notification that went out. I read that 365 Waffle House locations closed.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the most terrified I think I've ever been.
Wait, did they close the one in Canton?
They closed 365 locations, and that's a really big deal because if you look at our nation's pandemic planning documentation from NIST and a bunch of other things, Waffle House is actually listed in there as like a critical to the nation's infrastructure. It's like they provide hot food. Yeah. They have a logistics thing that provides propane gas, and there's all these things that are associated with where Waffle House locations are across the country. When I saw they closed 365 of them, I was like, this is going to be the worst thing ever. Because that's just not supposed to happen. You can't have Waffle House closed down.
I feel the same way about Denny's. Like, Denny's is like essential for government function.
Yeah, I was so nervous. I was like,
is your birthday 365
Waffle Houses? What do you mean my birthday?
You had your birthday at the Waffle House this year?
Oh, yeah, I did.
You did?
I haven't looked, actually.
I don't think I've ever been to Waffle House. Is it good?
They're by a lot of Tesla chargers, so we went to one where? North Carolina?
Asheville, North Carolina, at their outlet mall. There's one walking distance from a supercharger. It's pretty great.
Well, that's always good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been to that part of Canton in a while. There was an Earth Fair over there.
That's the Gold Circle.
Here's a question. How pissed must Earth Fair be right now? They went bankrupt a month before.
That's so brutal.
A month before this whole shopping explosion. Yeah, like if they could have just made it a month, they were in the green. So, but like no one bailed out Earth Fair. Like it's just I don't get it. I don't get how we're picking what industries to bail out. It seems arbitrary and stupid, and I'm sure a lot of lobbying is going into it. But yeah, I also think you got to be insane to buy these stocks. Any of the airlines or Boeing, I think you got to be kind of nuts.
Dude, don't even talk about Boeing on this podcast.
Boeing.
Don't do it.
Boeing. Sorry, just real quick. Just so folks at home know what a bad stock looks like. Here you go. Stock was 446 a year ago. Currently at 124. Hit a low of $89 2 weeks ago. That's what you call a bad stock. But like, I think you got to be a special kind of crazy to invest in a company that you know is going to get diluted massively, but you don't know how much, and you know it's Trump doing it. So like, I think I remember Citigroup when it got bailed out, the stock went down almost 60%. I think Fannie and Freddie's common stock was almost completely wiped out. GM's common stock was completely wiped out last time. Like I'm talking about $0 a share. So yeah, like don't buy bailout companies, and I think that it's dangerous what we're doing when it comes to that. But I also think, like you're saying, the small business loans, I think there's a lot of companies that aren't going to take the loans, and they're just going to fire people.
Yeah.
Like, because isn't that part of the deal? Like, you have to keep people on for 2 years, and then
you have to whatever you file in the paperwork, you have to keep the number of employees that you have at the time of the filing.
Yeah.
So you fire everyone right before you file.
That's what they did.
You probably do, honestly. That's what you might have to do.
That's what they did, I think. Because look at these numbers. 6.6 and 3.3 million people back-to-back weeks. Who knows what next week has to hold?
It's crazy. Yeah. So tell me this. How is the market holding up right now?
Why is it holding up right now?
Yeah, it makes zero sense to me. Like, I look at what it is right now compared to last week on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this position is way worse. Like, it's way more uncertain to me than it was last Friday.
Okay, I'm going to just pull up a chart of the SPY real quick for you. This is the S&P 500 chart. So, yeah, you had one week, that big, really bad week at the end of February.
Yeah.
We traded inside that range. We broke down below it, right?
Yeah.
This is when the panic was really setting in. We broke down below that, and then we had a big-ass outside week reversal.
We're gonna print money. Money printers coming online.
Right down here, they started printing money. They got the S&P back up to here. So right now there's like a little bit, like whenever you have an outside week, you have a new risk range. So the levels to watch this week were 262.80 on the upside, which the S&P did get above by $1.50 before reversing pretty hard back into that range. So why did the market go up? I think the infinite money. I think it was sellers' exhaustion. It was also a bear market rally. You get really vicious bear market rallies like that, where the stock market will jump 10% in a week or something, and it's a counter trend rally just because the market's stupid.
Is it just electronic trading? Is it just algorithms doing that, or like?
Yes.
I just don't understand why it happened. Because from my perspective, like nothing made me more confident that everything was going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it jumped such a significant percent right there. It was like there were funds I was able to get out of and just be like, okay, well, I threw away a year and a half of gains, but at least I'm now cash because I was able to get out of that fund.
I will say, like, if you look at these series of lows, there's a downtrend that it bounced off of. Sorry, it's something like that. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of reason for why other than the fact that the Fed was printing money.
Yeah.
What I will say is that this reminds me more of the year 2000 than it does the year 2008. 2008 and 2009, we were able to save the day and everything started recovering almost instantly. I think the damage from this is going to take years to repair. And I don't think that I would not own the stock market. I think the stock market's going to be lower in a year, in a month. Maybe it'll be higher in 4 months, but like this seems like a bear market that's going to persist because there's like I don't think everyone's getting their jobs back. I just don't. I think this is an excuse for companies to shed a lot of employees, and I think automation's going to.
Well, they could, they'll switch to automation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're also learning that everyone can work remote now.
Exactly. Like,
so why are we paying rent? Why do we own this building?
Bingo. So don't own commercial real estate REITs right now. Don't own real estate investment trusts. Don't own banks. Don't own insurance companies. Don't own energy companies.
Yeah.
Don't own these massive, like...
grocery stores. Own grocery stores.
Own grocery stores. Own food.
Own Charmin.
Water. Yeah, P&G. Yeah, P&G is a good one. What's the other one? I don't necessarily like this company, but Nestle is good. Oh, Unilever was the one I was thinking of. Unilever is like the P&G of Europe, basically. Yeah. If you want to just own a bunch of boring consumer staples companies.
Conagra Foods is killing it right now.
Yeah, Conagra. Walmart's obviously doing well.
For a long time. Chef Boyardee is flying off the shelves.
But I don't want to buy Apple. I don't want to buy Microsoft. I don't want to buy Google. I don't want to buy Amazon. I know Amazon will probably do better than those other three I mentioned. I don't want to buy Facebook here. I think that all of these things are going to be sources of funds. Because Apple and Microsoft are still over $1 trillion market cap. Like, when people need money, they're going to come back to the Apple Bank and they're going to withdraw money. That's what we saw with Tesla this quarter, too, is that people were up a ton, so they were liquidating there. Where people needed to liquidate, they did. I also think, Tony, that the market bottomed because it was like everyone who needed to get liquidated and flushed out of their trades did. It was a washout sort of a moment.
Yeah.
And that's why we're kind of just stuck. We might be stuck in a range right now. I think that maybe next week, my concern is that next week and the week after, we're going to start to see how bad this is. Like, the numbers are going to be very high. I imagine stories out of New York City are going to get even scarier.
Yeah.
And Florida is going to start to be a story. So it's like, maybe those things will cause the market to quit being a psychopath. Because what annoyed me was both of those jobless claims days, the stock market went up.
It was up.
And I was like, this stock market's a psychopath. It went up on both of those days, and it went up on the day that Trump said that 240,000 people could die from this. I was like, this stock market's got a problem. And I think maybe it was pricing in a worse thing that is happening now at the lows, right? So
that's what didn't make sense to me. I'm like, so does the market just, well, at least we know a number. At least we know how many people are going to die. It's like, do we?
Yes.
We don't know anything. It's changing every other day. Like, how is this? This isn't certainty.
I always say this, that the VIX it measures uncertainty.
Right.
So when the VIX was in the 80s, clearly that there was a very high level of uncertainty. Have we really improved as much as the VIX reflects? I don't know. Is this a trap? Probably. Like I look at that bounce in the stock market and I'm not buying it. And I sold some of my trades. Like I bought some crap when it was down. Because like whenever I see everything trade together, I know that people are making irrational decisions. So certain stocks, this is going to be a really good market for stock pickers. Because I don't think the S&P 500 is going to just magically go back to its all-time highs. I do think Tesla could, and I think Nintendo could, and I think like other stocks could, and I own those stocks.
There's a couple hanging in so tough, like Teladoc, AMD. Like there's stocks that just are hanging in so tough. I'm like, how is this possible?
It's relative strength, and it shows you that the market is not trading the same as it was 3 weeks ago. I think that's what you're noticing, and that's why it's holding in better, is that Tesla found footing at 350. Nintendo found footing at 37. You know, like even Apple, which, like I said, I don't like I call them mega caps because they're over 500 billion market cap. I don't like Apple at 240. I don't think it's like some sort of buy of the century thing. It's fine. It'll be there, you know, but it could drop 50%. Like is anyone here buying an iPhone this year?
No.
Yeah, because the SE's coming out.
If the SE gets delayed, are you buying no, okay, fine.
I'm not buying a cell phone. I got a box of SEs that are going to last me for forever.
Okay, so you have a box of
SEs?
He has a box of SEs. You've been holding out on me.
You got to buy them used.
I have no idea.
I need a box of SEs. My phone hardly ever charges.
I could finance it over the next 6 years, and I could get the new phone every time it comes out.
Okay, so you're proving my point. You're not buying a new phone from Apple this year. Yeah, SE for life. I get it. My point is, you sounded excited about the new SE.
I am, because in a year and a half, when they're $100,
you'll buy it for used,
and it's got the new processor.
So you're pumped about it. So you're telling me in 2022 you're gonna buy an iPhone,
and it's still gonna fit in this case.
And
that's what I'm telling you.
That case is broken.
There's not even a home button on it. There's not even going to be a home button.
Waterproof.
There's a hole. There's a hole.
It looks like someone was chewing on it. All I'm saying is that
Ice-proof.
Case is fine.
The prospects of Tesla are definitely more interesting than the prospects of a lot of the other large cap tech. I do think AMD.
Agreed, but I don't want to buy it under 300 though, and I don't know if it's going to get there. I think it's too strong.
It could.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's the only corporate company that actually gets it.
It's all a function of the
ventilators. They're making alternative energy. They're making the future of automobiles.
Here's a little story I'll tell you about owning stocks through recessions. Okay.
A little story about owning stocks through recessions.
Do you want to hear a little story about owning stocks through recessions?
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious because it looks so small on the chart now. I held Apple through the Great Recession, right? This is where I started managing the company. Apple's at split adjusted 13 a share, right? And then Steve Jobs comes out and says, and we call it iPhone. And everyone buys the iPhone. The stock goes from $13 to $30, right? Or basically 29. And I'm like, everything's great. Apple's doing great. iPhone, it had a great first half of a year, right? It started in 2007. I'm not going to sell it going into 2008. Within a month of not selling it in December of 2007, Apple fell from $28 to $18. There goes 30%. The stock ultimately bottomed the year later, I think at around $11 a share. And obviously it was the buy of the century, whatever. The point is, iPhone sold like gangbusters in 2008. grew. The numbers were great. And Apple still went down because we were in a recession and the multiple contracted, right?
Yeah.
I fear that that's going to happen to Tesla this year. Even if they are able to grow, which I'm not sure they are now because of this quarter. Yes, their year-over-year numbers in Q1 were great. But now Q2, we know, is going to suck.
Yeah.
And how does that affect the full year?
Products, though. Apple makes a lot of products, and iPhone was only one of them.
But at the time, iPhone was really becoming the revenue story.
Yeah. They were still having to make all the other products that weren't selling that well in a recession.
Well, so is Tesla. They're making power walls. They're making chargers, wall connectors, roof solar panels.
So my point is that even though Tesla could have a good financial performance year, I think the stock could be range bound because of what happened earlier this year with it's like when Apple hit split adjusted, it was 200 a share in 2007. I was like, hey, it's kind of here early. It's kind of here faster than expected. Tesla got to 960 a little early, I think. Like, it got ahead of itself. And now we're just going to have to kind of sit here and wait. And there's going to be... I will say this. The insufferable D-bags that were Apple shareholders are now the same insufferable D-bags who are Tesla shareholders. And I'm just lucky that Twitter wasn't really that big back then when it was Apple. But all I'm saying is that, yeah, so the end of that story is that Apple went from 13 a share to 336 a few months ago. So if you're patient, you hold through a bear market, you'll be fine. That's really the moral of that story. But you'll look like an idiot before you look really smart. And I think that we're at that place with Tesla right now, where when it dips below 400, boy, you look stupid for holding it at 500. But then it shoots back up to 500 and you're a genius again. So I think that Tesla's going to be in for... Because of the exogenous market volatility, Tesla is going to be a stock that moves even more violently because of its beta, because of its PE ratio, which it doesn't really have, because of its price to sales multiple more than anything. And I think in recessions, PE multiples contract. High multiple companies, their valuations contract. So Tesla is it's in a very risky place right now. So I'm not buying it. But like when it was down there at 350, that was like
ding.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was me. I accidentally hit a water bottle.
I was like,
dinner ready.
I liked it.
Lola? Is Lola calling me for dinner?
When it was down to 350, ding.
Yeah, right? That worked almost too well.
Like we were watching Mad Money.
Jim Cramer.
Ding, ding, ding.
Let's see. We have a couple of stories that we didn't hit yet. Elon is running SpaceX 24/7 and says he says I hope I'm not dead by the time people go to Mars.
Yeah, this is why he said panic was dumb, because he's like, if we have to panic about this coronavirus, it is going to ruin my timeline for getting to Mars.
I think that's really what it was about.
I'm sure.
But I hope he's not dead by the time people can go to Mars. Because that was supposed to be like 5 years
Oh,
from
I
now?
hope he doesn't die from coronavirus.
Yeah, that's fair. Coronavirus is the worst.
He doesn't die. I hope none of us die.
That's a good hope.
Thank you, Tony.
During coronavirus.
I'll
agree.
do my best.
I'm going to go on a limb and agree with you. Also, Hawaiian Electric proposes Tesla batteries for their Oahu Power project.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That is
Hawaii
super cool.
uses way too much
oil.
Fossil fuel.
Fossil fuels runs the whole.
But like, not even natural gas. They use oil.
Yeah, I know.
Like, super bad. And yeah, they're considering their.
It's kind of a weird place. I think they finally banned styrofoam, maybe, but for a long time they were using tons of styrofoam. I'm like, you guys are on an island. What the heck's going on?
Let's see what else we got. This dash cam viewer. You seen this?
Yeah, so Green the Only, he exposed that. Get it with early code?
He did?
Yeah, so yeah, this looks really cool. Did you see the link I sent of his, because it has video.
Yeah, I got video of it too. It's
super cool.
Where is it? Here it is.
Super cool, and I heard it's going to start getting the trunk camera during incidents, during Sentry Cam triggers too.
The back? Which camera?
Yeah, I think the back camera wasn't included in Sentry Cam, and that's being...
Oh, they're going to add it.
Oh, the rear view.
Yeah, this is really cool how you can switch like that on the fly, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you can do that while you're driving?
That makes
No, you have to be in park.
Oh. So wait, yeah, because you're looking at Sentry and Tesla Cam, right?
Yeah, you basically
that's cool.
have a browser to the video that's saved on the...
Is this a native app that's going to run on
Yeah, it's built in the OS. It's even cooler than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm into this. I approve of this technology. I like that my car gets better over time. Yeah, if you're ever feeling bad about being a Tesla shareholder, well, I guess if you don't have the car, it's harder. But just get in your... If you have a Tesla, just get in it and let it drive you somewhere. You'll feel better.
Spoiled rotten. That's what that is.
Huh?
Nothing. You just sounded real spoiled rotten.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry I could afford a Tesla before you.
Oh, I liked it. You're like, well, at least you got the sock. But if you're sad about the sock, you can just go get in the car. Oh, you don't have the car.
Not everyone who owns Tesla has a Tesla. That's so weird to me. Does not compute. How have you not been able to...
Everybody can have one.
How have you not been able to buy Tesla with your Tesla profits at this point? That seems... I'm sorry. When we get out of this, Adam, I'll bring the Cybertruck to Japan.
What?
Please do that. That would be amazing.
Airdrop it onto the roof.
You'll be living here by the time it comes out. Just buy it here.
Well, clearly the universe is trying to delay my escape from the United States.
They won't even let you in here.
How awesome Ohio is.
The only way you'll be allowed in is if you marry a Japanese person. So I'll get citizenship.
I don't know about that.
Marry me.
I don't know about any of this. Ohio is making...
They have to make gay marriage legal first.
Yeah, gay marriage is illegal in Japan.
It's going to be kind of a process.
It's a patriarchy over there.
Seems like a couple hurdles in the way. This plan working.
Yeah, none of this seems right.
Is polygamy allowed in Japan?
I have to work on that too.
Yeah, wait. What if we were Mormon? Does that fix everything?
Not in Japan.
Man. So they're anti-Mormon and anti-gay? Now I really don't want to move.
They're anti all kinds of weird stuff.
And they don't have Swenson.
Society's not really anti-gay. It's just the law hasn't been changed because there's a bunch of old people in government.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, but Corona, since they're not doing much to stop it, may take them all out. We'll see.
Mask.
But
What are you doing?
At least we have Sentry Cam now.
Fix it.
Viewer.
Now.
Yeah, that looks awesome. I am excited. People have been wanting something like that forever.
Yeah, it seemed obvious to me. Like it takes that whole, like, I have to pull my USB drive out and put it in my computer and then look at all these different video files.
It kind of kills a bunch of companies that like focused on products to deal with that. Like there's the company that Rode.
Yeah, like video
like Wi-Fi. It does like Wi-Fi from a USB stick.
You know, it would be cool.
That's gone. You don't need that.
If they add this to the iPhone app.
That's real hard, though.
It is?
That would be cool.
They could add a lot of stuff to that app.
Yeah. I don't know.
Give it 2-3 years, it'll happen. They just need to start putting memory into the cars. Why do we have to use these newfangled USBs?
Yeah, you should have more. We still need something to get the video from the car to your computer if you want to do that. So I like the option to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there should be SSDs in these cars. Like, why are we putting hard drives in this?
You can put an SSD in it. There's a lot of people that have made Raspberry Pi controllers that you can put multiple SSDs.
That's what the Roadie is, I think.
There's quite a few of those now. Open source too.
But why? Like, why isn't it just the car? Like, the car's so state of the art, and then it's like kind of hamstrung in that.
It's because of that premium connectivity package, man. That bandwidth ain't free.
Maybe they'll start charging for some kind of cloud service for the files, and then you could access them through the app. That could happen.
Yeah. To the cloud.
That'd be good.
To the cloud.
That's what I'm saying.
I think if it costs money, most people wouldn't pay for it.
It would still be cool. Like, you're forgetting, like...
They could make it available. Maybe 5% of people would pay for it.
Back in my day, Teslas were only for super rich people.
Yeah, no, there's going to be a market because there are super rich people that don't care.
And they would pay. For service.
There are people that just want to give Tesla money.
They would just put their credit card into the Tesla app and not even understand what they're being charged for and be okay with it.
They would be happy to give recurring revenue to Tesla.
Not anymore.
Yeah. But
ever since the Death Stranding. Seriously, Death Stranding was a
probably
prophecy.
At this point only at most 5% of Tesla owners or something.
Man, what a shame.
And maybe there's 5% more that would actually find it useful enough to pay for. So
that is weird that we walk everywhere now, like in Death Stranding.
Yep.
That is real weird.
We do walk everywhere, and we're very dependent on our delivery people.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Very prescient.
And the delivery guy, I'm sure when he gets home, he takes one of those power showers that wipes all the time fall off of them and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Power shower. Everybody needs a power shower. Everybody needs a mask, and everybody needs a power shower.
Basically, I don't know. Like, I legit do this when I like go out, like to the outside world now, and then I come back. I take a shower. I'm just like, it needs to all come off of me. Wherever the COVID was, it needs to be washed.
I'm not going out enough to need that many showers. I probably do need more showers.
Sarah's like, he needs more showers.
What? You need a mask.
I have a mask, but I need a reusable mask, yes. I would love one of those.
You need a
one.
Here's, what do you want?
Do you have the plans for the mask up anywhere, or do you have to go to Sew Masks for Cincy to find those? You need to plug.
I mean, Sew Masks for Cincy has the ones the hospitals want. The ones that people wear are different. Because they're wearing them over their N95s, which you might want one too, but most people at home don't have N95s, so they need like a tighter fit.
They're layering up.
That's crazy. They're layering so that they can reuse the N95?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, that was before we had the crazy sanitization capabilities, so now that might be a little better. But
yeah, there's an Ohio company, Battelle, that is sanitizing masks.
Those working on the test.
But these ones have a carbon filter in them.
Ooh, that's nice.
So
okay,
there's that.
These are all better than nothing, which is what the president's using.
Better than like a bandana.
But don't wear a mask because everyone will be scared.
Don't want to scare the public.
He also looked directly at an eclipse.
I did see that. That was a Hillary Clinton tweet.
Yeah.
Dr. Amy Acton, what did she say? Day 1. 1% of the population has it right now. We need to act accordingly. Yeah. Imagine if leadership above her would have said that. We'd all be in a better place.
Yeah.
Butter emails.
I knew it was like end times because my dad was sending me old Hillary tweets that were like that he was agreeing with because they were like prophetic about Trump being an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just sort of like, we could have had a different president.
Here we go.
I'll hold my tongue.
Too late.
I found the Hill Dog tweet. It's a dang tweet by Hill Dog. I gotta give her props for this.
Yeah.
Please do not take medical advice from a man who looked directly at a solar eclipse.
That's a good one.
And Alyssa Milano loves it. Alyssa Milano loves it so much.
She stands big time. She stands Hillary big time and went after Bernie. So did Whoopi.
This is the one that my dad sent me. This was from 8/8/2016.
Just imagine Donald Trump in the Oval Office facing a real crisis. We can't afford that kind of risk. Yeah, I remember that one.
That's good.
These tweets aged so well.
He really did.
Way to go, Hill Dog.
Didn't he give himself a 10 out of 10?
He did, yeah. Real early on, too.
Hey, and right now he's number 1 on Twitter.
No, Facebook.
Number 1 on Facebook. Talk about a valuable service.
Yeah.
On that valuable service.
Is Facebook
number 1 place to find misinformation about the coronavirus? Facebook.
Yes. Here's a question.
On Facebook than Twitter.
Here's a question. Is this the thing that kills Facebook finally?
What?
No?
I don't see it.
No, people will be using
I'm saying
more now.
Yeah,
people are too invested in it now. Like, that's your life now. So
social media is almost too important. Then it doesn't make sense for these stocks to be on their lows.
Facebook's too big to fail.
Well, Facebook is not going to have a lot of growth, right? Is that the theory?
That's my point. At some point, they will stop growing.
They can buy other stuff, though, right? Like Instagram.
Yeah.
WhatsApp, Oculus.
Snapchat.
They did not buy Snapchat.
Oh, that's right. They don't need to. They didn't need to. They just stole all their features. That's right.
No. Snapchat, what I think is fascinating about Snapchat is it's the only social media platform where the users have figured out how to make money before the platform.
Yeah.
It's a private Snapchats.
What about Patreon?
That's its own platform.
Oh, okay.
There's people out there where you have to pay to follow them on Snapchat or to be friends with them on Snapchat.
Yeah.
So the users figured out how to monetize the platform before the platform did. I think it's the only time that's been the case.
How's Twitch doing right now?
Oh, viewership is through the roof. It's the
Really?
highest it's been. Yeah. Twitch is doing very well. Our Twitch is doing well. We're planning actually more shows at Shacknews because we're all stuck at home and we want to give our readers and viewers something to do. So yeah, no, I'd say Twitch is doing very well. I'm sure all streaming platforms are doing well. You know, like YouTube, Twitch, I guess Amazon Prime. But if you're talking about live stream, yeah, Twitch is doing very well for video games.
Cool.
I guess that's the show.
That is the show.
We're done.
Woo!
It's a week. That was the weekend.
Great. It's been a long hiatus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it again sometime.
All it took was forced lockdown for us to do another episode.
Yeah, you'll notice I'm not at the office anymore because I'm non-essential.
Yeah, you're going to have to get a big Shacknews logo behind you.
Yeah, or something.
You can add it in post.
Oh, I played Half-Life on VR since I last talked to you. It's amazing.
What's the new one called?
Half-Life Alyx.
Alex, yeah.
It's the story of Alex Vance in between Half-Life 1 and 2. So Alex she was a helper in the games. So
Yeah, I remember.
you get to play from her in her shoes. It's great.
Nice.
It's the best VR game. Can't wait for you to be able to visit again in person and try it out someday after the Death Stranding. But
Yep.
I don't know. So yeah, follow Tony and Sarah on social media at Tesla Fudge. You guys are hitting all sorts of follower accounts.
Hey, we posted a YouTube video actually.
I did. I saw that. The
and we have more
time-lapse stuff.
content. We did a little mini docu thing about mask making.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
So we'll be posting that.
Sweet.
Yep.
And then Adam, you're at @long_Elon on Twitter.
Yes.
And then you guys aren't using Byte anymore. You've given up on that platform.
I've been using Byte.
Tony
I
uses
Byte
it.
at least once a week.
You do? You post?
Yeah, he does.
You never like any of the things I post. I don't know if you
The
get
algorithm's terrible. I can never see it.
They've changed it so much in the last month.
I never see any of my friends' stuff anymore.
Yeah, it's dumb. You got to go straight to their thing and then go through
That's
their Bytes one at a time.
I tried to get people to join it. No one did. So
no, because everyone's on TikTok,
well,
right? And
no one I know is. But
It's just
yeah.
like Zoom. If you just want to give up all your rights, personal
I'm old.
information, and just give everything to China, then you can go ahead and do that. It's fine.
TikTok. Yeah, TikTok's like Zoom but worse. Maybe that's our
Made in America.
It's like Zoom without information.
Zoom without any of the useful part.
Yeah.
If you could turn Zoom into a platform for white people to lip sync over things, that's TikTok,
Yes.
right? I nailed it.
Oh, we're using Zoom. You could have used a virtual background and thrown the Shack logo off. I didn't even think about it. We know all the special features of Zoom now because we use it for
We've
so
been to
much
so
stuff.
many virtual 9-year-old birthday parties.
I like
Yeah, they've taught us all the features.
I like the honesty of being like, yep, there's my door, there's a couch. That bag over there, that gray bag,
Yeah.
what's in it? A Wii U. As I was leaving, as I was evacuating the office, I'm like, I should bring my Wii U. It's like, it's essential, right?
Oh.
Because it has Virtual Console on it. Switch doesn't. So, are you still playing Fortnite, Tony? Because stop.
What?
It's a lame game. Don't play Fortnite.
No, I haven't played it. I really haven't played anything on the Switch. We started Zelda and we haven't picked back up with it.
Well, Animal Crossing's out now. That game's
I've been
delightful.
playing a lot of Sea of Thieves.
Really?
Dude, that is like the go-to. I have so many ex-coworkers, buddies I hadn't talked to in forever.
Mila loves it.
Mila likes watching it. We go fishing together.
This morning, when you were downstairs in the living room and she was upstairs, she thought she heard the Sea of Thieves like playing. And she was like, "Is he playing that?" And she like went downstairs. She's like, "Oh, the TV's not on." She was like really upset you were playing without her.
Well, that's good. Sea of Thieves is fun. It's a good, like, I think it's cool to see how people are going to video games to hang out with their friends. While we're isolated. I think it's been an interesting thing to watch.
It's pretty cool.
We've been doing shack battles with the community. We played Battlefield 1942. Or no, Bad Company 2 yesterday. And then Team Fortress 2 on Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah, so good stuff. Then, I guess me. I'm at TechnoSucks on Twitter. The pace at which I'm tweeting is down because I can't campaign for Bernie Sanders effectively in a pandemic. But the pandemic's doing a good enough job of campaigning for him, really.
Yeah.
It is. Everyone's still missing the point, but
I don't know.
Don't make me more depressed.
AOC is still hitting it hard.
Sorry.
Huh?
AOC is still going hard. She hasn't let up at all.
No, good.
It's good.
And maybe she's the person who can be the figurehead for the progressive movement for decades to come. Because Bernie's old.
Yeah.
And white. And maybe that was too much to overcome.
Yeah.
like his message is great, but it doesn't seem to be resonating with the right people. Who knows, though? I will point this out. In 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers were down 3-1 in the NBA Finals. Odds stacked against them, and they somehow came back to win.
It's true.
All it took was Draymond Green punching LeBron James in the nuts.
So
what I'm saying is that the COVID-19 virus is kind of like Draymond Green.
Whose nuts is it going to get?
America's.
It's getting a lot of nuts right now.
It's hitting America right in the
lot of old people nuts.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is that maybe this could be a catalyst for a change in the election. Because Ohio, we postponed our election.
We did.
Ohio gets to think about this virus and how important what things like we've talked about, like the Green New Deal would be coming out of a it's a depression. Like everyone's like, oh, we're in a recession, right? I'm like, yeah, it's not a question of if we're in a recession or not. It's if we're in a recession or a depression.
Yeah.
That's really the question right now.
I don't think we'll know till June.
Okay.
We'll see.
Like September, maybe. Yeah, September, I would imagine. But yeah, who knows? And I just don't think you turn off the global economy and then flip the switch back on and everything's fine. I think that's what we're going to have to wait and see about. And there's a lot of uncertainty. So VIX down here at 40-something, it might be a buy with the couple of weeks we have coming up. And Tesla might go down as a result. But the point of that original Apple story was that if you wait and you're patient with your investment thesis, I think 10 years from now, Tesla's higher.
Yeah. You've been saying that forever. And now it's even cheaper. So
yeah, now it's lower, so it's definitely better. The lower it goes, there's a certain point where Tesla becomes a more interesting buy to me than Nintendo. It's around like 350, I think. The upside just becomes more in Tesla's favor. But both of those
got a dividend.
Huh?
And Nintendo's got a dividend.
Nintendo does have a dividend. They also have this game called Animal Crossing, which is selling like gangbusters right now because everyone wants to imagine they're on a happy island with funny bunnies and all sorts of things.
Yep. Everybody I've been playing Sea of Thieves with, we all agree that it's good practice for when we have to loot our neighbors for the depression.
I think Fortnite and PUBG also train people for the scavenging aspect of this. Video gamers are probably more prepared for quarantine and a pandemic than most.
Yeah.
Because we're used to staying at home. We're used to getting supplies for extended periods of time. And yeah, a lot of us already work from home.
Yeah.
So
did it blow anyone else's mind that they said, please don't game during peak hours because...
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, excuse me? Excuse me, Microsoft?
Yeah, Sony did
like
the same thing.
Giant Azure installation, like the most well-built, load-balanced... I don't even know what you call it. Cloud service.
Yeah.
To support millions and millions of people. You're telling people to please not play video games during peak hours?
It's
for
not
a service that we pay for?
It's not their servers.
That'd be like Netflix saying, guys, I don't want you watching movies from 4 to 9 p.m.
It's not their servers. It's the infrastructure between your house and their servers. You know,
I didn't hear them say that though. They were just
no.
like,
They're not gonna drag Comcast and all these companies. But that's what's happening. Is like our node is maxing out during the day. I can tell you, my speed test at 5 p.m. is much lower than it was before the pandemic. Like I'm about 20% slower because the node's maxing out. So it's not. And yeah, video games do take up a lot of bandwidth. I don't know. Keep playing video games. Also, Animal Crossing doesn't use a whole lot of bandwidth, so I've been playing a lot of that. Half-Life Alyx doesn't use any bandwidth either. It's offline, and I can pretend I'm in a virtual place. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to play some Sea of Thieves with you, it sounds like.
Yeah. You got to get Greg, too, because we need a legendary pirate.
Greg and Sam Chandler are both pirate legends.
I didn't know that.
And Sam's girlfriend is also a pirate legend. I know 3 pirate legends.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm not.
I don't even know any.
Damn it, Adam. One of these days, you'll have an Xbox and it can collect dust next to your Switch.
The Dust Collector edition.
Final Fantasy VII comes out next week.
You're talking to the wrong people.
I know. Okay, that's it. Go to shacknews.com for interviews, news, reviews, previews, long reads, podcasts, guides. We had a long read about the making of Doom Eternal that went live last or 2 weeks ago. Go to Shacknews on Twitter, Shacknews on Facebook, Shacknews Media on Instagram, or Shacknews on Byte, where we rarely post. I'm Army of Techno on Byte. You guys are Tesla Fudge on Byte. And what's yours, Sarah? I can't remember yours.
I don't remember.
Sarah has forgotten her.
No, I'm Tasuti, I think.
Yeah, that's right, Tasuti. I don't know. I post probably like 8 videos of Lola on there a day, so it's worth going to just for
I know,
that.
I watch them all.
It's entertaining.
Very good dog content happening there. I'm still doing the Canton, Ohio weather report, so you got that content.
I watch those.
I do like those.
I have to tweet it, though.
EJ Floofington Investment Advisor, I feel like could be an actual show that people would watch.
People would tune in to get stock advice from Lola every day.
Yeah, I think they would, especially now.
For sure.
That's high quality content right now.
Yeah, if you go back and watch it, I had some pretty good trades in there. So yeah, you can find us all at all those places. This podcast goes live on youtube.com/shacknewsgames, but it's also on all the podcast facilities. So if you're on the Apple Podcasts app or Google Play or Stitcher, you can find us on all of those things. We're also part of the Greenlit Podcast Network, and I totally forgot to put in ad breaks here, so I don't know when I'll run the ads for that, but at some point, we'll break into this podcast with an ad for lovely Greenlit Podcast Network
Cool.
thing. I will say
cool.
We are the weakest link in the podcast network because we joined it and then just didn't do any episodes.
We never said this is episode 12 either. We didn't do a proper intro.
We did a horrible job. This is
so bad.
We're out of practice.
We're off our game.
that great to begin with. So.
Yeah, we weren't even good, and then we're completely rusty. So now we're like...
At least I knew it was episode 12. That's kind of better.
The only thing this episode has really stepped up is your lighting in Cincinnati.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That is brought
tied
to
the podcast together.
Brought to you by too much time spent on YouTube in the last 3 weeks.
That's impressive. So yeah, those are all the places. And yeah, if you like this podcast, I had someone come on my stream like 2 weeks ago and be like, "You're on the 9 to 5 Elon podcast. I like that show." I was like, "What?" I was like,
"Really?"
What? Yeah, someone came in my Twitch chat to tell me that. And I was like, "Aw, that made me so happy."
That's great.
Yeah,
we have a fan. It wasn't John, was it?
One fan.
No, we have dozens.
Stickers.
There's dozens of them.
I've had people DM me before.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like real life people. I don't think they're bots. I think they're real.
There's actual people listening to our podcast because we're good at this, so we should keep doing it. Hopefully the pandemic allows for us to gather more frequently.
Yeah, that'd be good. Come to Japan.
Once it's over.
Yeah, once there's flights leaving.
Come to stay.
yeah, like you mean evacuate America.
Emigrate.
Come to stay permanently.
I mean, like, I won't. Your proximity to the place where this virus broke out from concerns me.
We're still doing better than you guys.
That's a valid point.
Oh, snap.
Sick burn.
I mean, yeah.
I set you up for that. That's a very good point. Okay, well.
Well done, everyone.
How's your toilet paper situation?
We've got 8 rolls.
Oh my god. That's you're running low.
Oh, it takes us a long time to get through that many rolls.
I don't know. The average American owns at least 40 rolls of toilet paper right now.
Are you serious?
Since we've been stuck at home, we've only used 3 rolls.
40 rolls?
40.
They just
That's
eat
insane.
it? You're not supposed to eat it.
We live in a tiny house. Where would we put them?
That's a good point. I don't know. I left some right here.
I have tissues.
Oh, you got a lot. You're well.
I have them right here in the shot.
Literally, this is fine meme right now. The one with those toilet paper.
Like, as you can see, I have plenty of paper towels. I'll be fine.
Coronavirus is an upper respiratory problem. It is not a Like
you are fake newsing right now. Like 7 days in, they were like one of the other major things is.
But it hasn't been.
What hasn't been? What are you talking about?
There have not been like digestive issues related to.
It's not in the top 4 symptoms.
Some people do have symptoms.
Yeah,
like
some
that,
people do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't. I thought it was more about the infinite money printing, that Americans have decided that toilet paper is the new money.
Yeah.
That's what it should
I
be.
had a woman ask if she could send me toilet because I wasn't accepting money for face masks. She's like, well, like hand sanitizer and toilet paper is the new currency, right? So can I just send you some of that? I was like, okay, if you want, whatever.
So weird.
Some lady in Pittsburgh's
So
gonna send me
bizarre.
toilet paper.
See, it is. It's already happening. Masks for toilet paper. I got this email from a restaurant in Costa Mesa, California. They must have had, because every company that you've ever given your email to is emailing you about COVID-19.
Oh, yeah.
So I got this email from them saying, free roll of toilet paper with every takeout order. So that's kind of neat.
I've been seeing them in like the
Subway
little
did that as
libraries
well.
around town. The like little house library things on the street in front of people's houses. There's like a roll that says like, if you need it, take it.
Wow.
Subway also is giving away free rolls of toilet paper. I forget where
They should have been doing that for a while. Their sandwiches are...
I haven't been to Subway for like decades.
If you like sandwiches that taste like dishwasher water, then
Yeah, like, do they just rub soap on the chicken?
I think they cook. I think the oven, they're actually repurposed dishwashers. They just put the loaf in there and cook it, bake it.
That's so gross.
That's what the smell is, though. There's no question.
It's bad.
No other bread on earth smells the way that Subway bread does.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
Like, there's something wrong.
Subway is never
going
going to sponsor this podcast.
Oh no.
We also said the $5 footlong Jesus. We've had 2 Subway.
Yeah, 2
references.
Subway references.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I didn't like when they called it $5 footlong Jesus. I always liked when they called it Touchdown Jesus.
I like Touchdown Jesus. It did look like a touchdown.
It got struck by lightning and burned down, and it looked like a Terminator skeleton coming up out of the lake.
Yeah.
And then when they redid it,
They should have just kept it like that. That's
it
way
became
cooler.
$5 footlong Jesus after that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the evolution. It was Touchdown Jesus, then the lightning strike.
Now he's like this.
Then that's right. He went from this to this.
Yeah, he was like this.
Oh man, it's been a while since I've been over there.
Yeah.
It's like, why the hell would I go to?
Well,
why the hell would I go to
open,
Dayton?
guys. If you want to go, services are open.
Yeah.
Oh
No, I'm gonna stay the hell away from those people. I'm gonna stay the hell away from everybody. I'm really embracing my hermit life here.
Yeah.
I just wish I could go to the office.
Isolation is saving lives. We're flattening the curve.
Yeah, and we're helping out. We're helping out all those people on the front lines by keeping the hospital capacity within the range of feasibility.
Yep.
So do that. Stay your ass at home. Watch our podcasts. Go back and watch the other ones. Go listen to the other Shacknews podcast, Shackcast. And you guys have anything else to say?
Stay safe.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Everyone should stay safe. And I hope everyone doesn't lose their job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do hope.
Thanks for reminding people of that, Tony.
Yeah, way to go.
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful.
You're trying to end on a nice note. Stay safe.
And too bad you're unemployed.
Now you'll just starve to death, even if the COVID-19 doesn't get you.
This is all terrible now. We've ruined this podcast in the last...
It was terrible anyway. We were talking about owning fancy cars.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even have a
real
car.
quick. These people that are fellow shareholders of Tesla do not share... There's not a common value system around these people. There are some filthy capitalists there. There are some they're
all over the map. They're all over the map, and that's what's great about the community, but that's also what's terrible, because you have like real things going on that impact lots of people, and I mean, this is kind of not hypothetical. This is hypocritical because of the jokes we're just making. But seriously, some of the stuff is so toxic that is on Tesla Twitter right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
I'm a part of several toxic Twitter communities. I'm part of Brown's Twitter.
Yes.
Which, did you see what Reflog did last week?
Cleveland Browns Twitter is as out of control as
he's made Mike DeWine press conferences a drinking game. He calls it Wine with DeWine.
Everyone calls it that. There's T-shirts.
He coined it.
Okay.
Reflog. Well, anyway, Brown's Twitter. Like what I'm saying is that we're so bored that we're watching DeWine and turning it into drinking games.
He's on every day, and he's doing.
I'm also part of F-Zero Twitter. F-Zero Twitter is a bunch of weebs that they traffic in the weirdest memes I've ever seen, and they're all simps, like all that crap. Tesla Twitter, far worse than both of those communities combined.
You think?
Yes, because there's a ton of misinformation. There's these rabid capitalists that are like, oh, all I care about is what's going to happen to my stocks. It's like, who cares how many people die? You're like, oh my God. Like this libertarian wing of Tesla Twitter that
Nope.
I'm not having. I have muted so many Tesla people that I follow. I'm not unfollowing them because maybe someday they'll come to their senses again. But boy, there are a lot more jaboofers on the boat than there were last year at this time.
Yeah, I did. I muted my first person and I unfollowed my first person on Twitter. It did not feel good because I swore I'd never do it, but I just couldn't take it anymore.
You can unfollow whoever you want.
I know, but that's my personal preference.
He has ethics.
Follow people.
He's a man of ethics.
Yeah.
That he didn't follow.
I don't want to create
He failed.
He's a man of ethics that he didn't even follow. Guilty. Well, way to go.
Guilty.
Okay, this was a better way to end, honestly. Anyway, those people suck. And they probably didn't make it this far.
They're probably the people that watched this show.
They didn't make it this far.
That's the only type of person that would watch this podcast. Is someone so obsessed with Tesla that they got to listen to every single podcast. There's probably 100 at this point. 100 different podcasts.
10 minutes, they're not.
And they're like, oh, what's this one? 9 to 5 Elon. I haven't seen that before. Oh my God. What?
How are they going to know we're talking about them? I've been pretty vague.
They wouldn't have made it this far anyway.
No, they probably wouldn't.
Exactly. No one makes it this far. If you made it this far, tweet.
I don't even want to be here right now.
Tweet. If you made it this far, tweet the name of the mayor of Detroit at TechnoSucks, at long_Elon, and at Tesla Fudge.
That's good.
And I'll send you a GIF.
Good idea.
There you go.
Did you say GIF?
We'll send you a face mask.
GIF. GIF. Maybe you'll send them a face mask. I do is reply with GIF.
Made over 100 face masks that have been donated.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
We're busy.
And
folks are doing
our dining room is no longer a dining room. It's a mask factory. There's just stacks of materials everywhere, machines.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
If you have two spare ones, send them to Asif.
Sorry, have you basically withdrawn from your workspace entirely?
Yeah. Okay, I have to go water plants once a week.
Okay, but you do go back there to do that.
Sometimes get more fabric, but for the most part, yeah. I
gotta go. I'm getting a call.
Go back and forth,
my wife.
Watering plants.
Okay, we gotta go. Thanks for watching.
See you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.